Chinese students should be banned from attending all Texas universities. No more communists.
Shelley Luther, what do you mean by that? Let's look into what she was really trying to say and why she's still wrong. What's going on, everybody? It's the Hot Pop Boys, David and Andrew here. We got to talk about Shelley Luther, who's running for House District 62, an aspiring politician in Texas. She said some very crazy things about Chinese students, conflating Chinese international students with all CCP communists that are going to ruin this country. So, David, let's talk about what she really meant to say, where the feelings are coming from, but why, she's probably still wrong for that.
Well, basically, she was saying she doesn't trust international students from China because they may get educated in the West, even though they do probably pay a ton of money at, international rate. And then some of them may go back to work for Chinese companies, or she's saying the CCP.
Right.
And obviously she's viewing that, I'm sure, as like an enemy. I don't know. I don't think she understands, the structure, how it works, but she's just got a feeling. I mean, she's a Dallas hairdresser, man. That's a Southern Belle, man. That's a Fox News anchor, man. Shelley Luther, man.
That's a Texas girl. I don't think she understands what it means or how to become a CCP member because actually not all Chinese international students even are. Maybe their families are, but it's something you got to sign up over there. Anyway, she doesn't understand it. Number two, subsidizing these students. It's funny because the international students are subsidizing the other students because they pay about 3 to 5 times as much money in tuition to the colleges, and the colleges need the money.
Right. Well, actually, it's a very old world way of using these terms, communism. It's almost like McCarthy era to be like, everybody's bad that's from a communist country. And it's like, it's just changed so much over time, guys. It'd take a long time to explain. But, I don't expect her to understand. I see a lot of people, whether it's on the right or the left, talk a lot about China in 2022, and literally they have no understanding, whether that's Joe Rogan or comedians or serious people, non-serious people. They just don't understand. I feel like if I was to read between the lines and more analyze what she's actually trying to say, she's more like Ralph's Smokehouse used to carry all 4 types of Texas barbecue, dry rub, smokehouse, everything, and it turned into a Chinese skewer spot. Or if she's talking about destabilizing, the campus dormitory menu, or she's talking about destabilizing the Longhorn booster base, because all these kids, it was the national championship game, and they were in the library studying, watching 88 Rising and watching Zoo EDM shows on the phones and K-pop dramas. They're not down with what a Texas Longhorn should be doing.
That Longhorn Stadium wasn't rocking like it was back when I went. And not to mention, my daughter got rejected from UT Austin, and I think some international students took her spot.
Right. I think her and Amy Wax and Marjorie Green, who also said the same thing about Chinese students, saying any Chinese person who says they're loyal to the CCP, send them out right now. I don't care how much land they own or what companies they own or what schools their kids got into or what, even if they went to Harvard, get them out of here.
Why do you think it seems like, and maybe these are the voices that are being amplified, it just seems like there's a lot of blonde women that are going after the Chinese right now? What's up with that?
That's a pretty funny question. I think that
why?
I do think that they feel like they're defenders of maybe the legacy population, or and I'm not saying that they would want to say it this way because that would sound too much like Amy Wax, but I think that they're well, I'm just defending true Americans, and these people clearly aren't true Americans, and they might feel our guys are real soft nowadays. They're so worried about being canceled. And some of them, they do business in China. I don't do that in my Dallas shop.
Or maybe
you know what I mean? They're
they've even dated some Chinese women, so now they're compromised. And you know what? We're the last beacon of hope
my cousin
for
Billy
this country.
My cousin Billy Bob's running around with all types of Wendy Dangs and all that. He's not going to be down for the squad anymore.
I do want to say, by the way, a lot of Republicans did come clap back at her and say, yo, this isn't right. Take this tweet down. You should not be saying stuff like this. So I don't want to say the Republican Party all agreed with her.
Right. But the main guy that went against her that was a Republican is half Korean.
Right. We'll give him J.C. Jetton. All right. We'll give you some credit. But I think it's I think at the end of the day, it was an emotional tweet. It ended up getting deleted and stuff. And it was it's just coming from a real feeling, because this is not a new conversation.
No, these are actually that different than what Amy Wax said.
Yeah. It's just, she just fired off a tweet and was getting her hair done in the perms, was no more communists. But I think that like I said, like I just wish people would present more solutions. And I actually wish she would even be more specific, like what you just said, or like what we just said. Like, I wish she would just write that down and say how she really feels instead of clumping all Chinese international students under this guise that they're like all CCP spies or something.
It almost reminded me like in 1994, Connie Chung had this thing on CBS where Connie Chung is Chinese, by the way. She was saying, your Chinese neighbor could be a spy.
Oh my gosh.
I was yo, that's crazy,
you know what's funny?
That's how I got treated.
And you know what's funny?
Up.
Since then, no Chinese students. I mean, I think there was maybe like one case of like espionage, but that was like a different guy. It wasn't like a student at a university or whatever. And I'm like, guys, like this is the same stuff from 1994 that we're talking about. Like you're trying to have the 2020 Chinese Exclusion Act right now. Like, what is going on?
If people on the right want to have a discussion about like social fabric and how much, I guess, like Anglo-Saxon traditions really play into the American fabric. I'm sure in Texas they would say a lot, but like I think that that's a discussion they want to have, but they feel like they're going to sound too racist saying it, so they're like sort of talking around it. So it's almost like instead of focusing on what they want to focus on, they're actually trying to delete everything else around it without saying what they want to say. So I think that that's, to be honest, one of the aspects. I think that that's a discussion they should bring up, and I think it's a valid discussion. You know what I mean? If America's brought up by those principles, then whatever, say what you want to say, and then let's talk about it, agree or disagree. And then I think on the other angle, it's just like people are just talking about something that they just feel very uncomfortable with.
They feel uncomfortable with, but they don't fully understand because people are always scared of the unknown. And China is still an unknown. Obviously, COVID started spreading from there, so that doesn't help. But like Chinese students have been coming for decades. And nothing wrong has happened. Students. Yeah, our parents were Chinese students, so obviously I got to defend them. I got your back. But I'm just saying nothing bad has happened.
And I think that
nothing bad has happened.
If they were to even raise the concept of like some sort of like class to get people more acculturated into like American ideals or whatever like that. First of all, I don't think that that's the role of universities. But even if she were to suggest that, I think that that would be a more logical, I guess, step in supporting her perspective.
Right. Like, how about a solution like how to get these Chinese students more in like closer with American culture in a positive way and not like a, you know what I mean?
That's what Bill Gates, Elon Musk, obviously they were in favor of increasing the visas to an incredible percentage of highly skilled workers because they want them to be at Microsoft and be at Tesla and be at this and that company.
Yeah, I think she's looking at the wrong problem. I get that she has a perspective and it's real feelings because people like her feel like their world is changing. They feel like that, you know, as maybe a blonde person, they feel like a lot of the things now in 2022 are not moving in their direction to be advantageous for them. But also a lot of these are the same people who would live and die by meritocracy and be like, yeah, like, you know.
Everybody's where they're at right now because they earned it.
Yeah, they pulled themselves up from the bootstraps. And then I'm like, yeah, well, these kids pulled themselves up from the bookstraps. So like, and they got the money to pay for college. So
a lot of them, not all of them, but like a lot of them are coughing up like $400K and working hard for like 4 to 8 years in American universities. And obviously their goal, a lot of them the goal is to stay in America, at least for a while.
So I feel like my message, and obviously I don't think, you know, Shelley Luther's going to see this video, but if she does, I would be like, yo, if you want to be a great American, what about providing real solutions instead of going back in time and trying to exclude people because that's not what we do anymore. We already kind of decided we're not on that. Let's try to figure out solutions here in America on how to do that.
And how important is it that kids are like at the UT Austin championship game instead of being at the library studying for their next test and playing like gacha games on an iPad or a tablet? I mean, like, let's talk about that because that's a real thing. I could believe that that's true. And I know that, you know, we live in a building with a lot of international students, you know, sometimes, and like there's like disagreements about like trash policies and things like that.
For sure.
So it's like, I get where she's coming from, but yeah, we're all here now. Let's just think of more constructive solutions because just taking whole groups of people that look a certain way and just cutting them out and deeming them as evil or untrustworthy is super not the way it's going to work.
That's crazy. That's dangerous language. I was like, these are students. And yeah, people are different, but I'm saying, like, again, if you want to be a good patriot, you want to be a good American, why don't you be a diplomat? Why don't you be an ambassador?
I think it's almost like looking at it like a cowboy that's not scared, being like, all right, man, you're coming from over here, I'm from over here, let's figure this thing out.
Yo, that's like China being like, oh, yeah, we don't want any more American students because they're going to bring guns to school. And try to shoot each other. That's why we don't want Americans. It's like,
because it's a stereotype.
Yeah, well, because there are a lot of school shootings in America, to be honest. Yeah,
right,
so
relative to other countries for sure. And anyway, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Shelley Luther, Majorie Green. I don't know who else is out there. Maybe they just need to date a Chinese guy. I don't know. Maybe their perspective will change.
Asian men were more attractive, so then maybe Shelley Luther
they were at least,
wouldn't be so mean to us.
Seen as more attractive.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I just think Shelley Luther wants some clout, man. She sees Majorie Green. She got 400K followers on Twitter. Guess something? Shelley Luther's at 8K. Of course, she's trying to go viral with some tweets.
Well, she was swinging for some home runs, a swing and a miss. All right, you guys, let us know in the comment section below what you think. And until next time, we out. Peace.